breakers. Oh, there's people surfing right now. God, we're gonna have to head over there. Ralph. Like an inside break. You'll see people anchored just outside the edge of the break. Oh, look at that. Man, if it looks that big from here, we're gonna have swells out here. Just getting started. Obviously needs a ton of jib Cunningham, so that's going to make the leading edge very flat. I think you're a little pointed too high.
Which one?
Flatter.
94.
They just let the jib out. Leech telltale there.
I wasn't in a meeting on here yesterday. I don't know who that is.
Be very much like this weekend after about 1:30, 2 o'clock every day. Totally different sails here. Again, she likes a tight jib with a lot of twist. She is not an over trimmer on that main for sure. He looks in between the two. Each of the jib is outside the spreader. Her jib may be luffing at the top first a little, and then, oh, she just trimmed it in a little. Okay, she's very good at, look at her handwork. Her hand barely moves. Her main sheet's just solid in her hand, and she just eases a little at times. It looks like she's looking at the water. And I think Madeline's looking at the wind. Yep, so she's pretty quick on twisting off the top of the main. I don't think she needs more bang. Her boat looks stable. If she was rocking a lot, I'd snug the bang a little so that the top of the sail didn't go out as much. Okay, we've been lifted. You want to have a compass on speed testing days, guys. You don't learn without a compass, to be honest. You learn time in the boat, but right now we're probably on a 6-degree lift, and all of a sudden, compared to the last video, she's hanging. We were probably on a 4-degree header the last time on that first video. Okay, so his main is a little tighter. His leech is opening up about 4 inches every time he eases 1 inch. So that's okay. I would probably have a little more bang than him, but he is again higher than she is. She loosened her traveler and she might have overdone it a little. Looks like she's having a little trouble getting the leech tight enough. But let's see how she goes. His jib looks a little further out this time than it was last time. It's good. He's good at like pumping the main in there. They have older sails. The leech of their jib is just at the spreader tip. And he's not having to ease the main very much. It's not quite windy enough for them to trap this big hole right now. The jib is right at the spreader tip, and I bet you she tightens her trap back up. That's a little too much twist. You're gonna see Sean is looser on the jib. He's outside the spreader. And his main is tighter than hers, a lot less twist. I think Warren's jib is luffing at the top. These guys are definitely the fastest boat today. Look what they've done. So Sean and Warren are the fastest today. I didn't get that. Those are old sails. They look pretty good other than the jib Cunningham a little. They look pretty good. And they're a bigger crew. So they're not trapping. They're right above. And then his leech is close. He looks like he has more bang than them. His boom is further off center line. You see that? His boom is off center line because he has more bang. The front of his main is flatter. So his leech is way more hooked. Yeah, see how his leech is way more closed off. And his jib is at the spreader tip. God, it's hard to drive and get good angles here. Okay, here we go. Yeah, so there's that. So first thing we're looking at, it's a pretty big swell day. First thing we're looking at are clue levels. We want the tack of the spinnaker. So the tack is the windward one. The clue is the other, and we want them pretty level. Her pole does not need to go any higher. Wondering if they need tighter bungee. Although it does look good in the puff. Wow. Repleated the jib.
I'm thinking we do downwind.
The new guy's in her
set up a course.
left hand. The sheet is in her
I think
tiller
this
hand.
little cove would be money.
Oh God, more kelp. Jeez. Okay, that looked very good. Could have had the pole a little further back in this much wind to finish that jibe. And also practice sailing without a pole and steering to the kite. Learning how to fill the kite when the pole, just with little steering, quick little jabs of the tiller, and you can get the spinnaker to catch the wind. Okay, so we can't really tell. Yeah, we can. The tacks and the clues. Okay, so what's happening right now is the wind is shifting way forward as they surge. This is fun. Oh, this is fun. Yes. Their pole could go higher. You'll see when the clue is higher than the tack. She's struggling a little right now. You lose power. The leech blows out. High pole is good, but I also teach when the spinnaker is hard to fly, keep the pole down 6 inches. But Shawnee's got a nice, Shawn and Lauren right there. They got a nice high pole. It's on. I think only heeling to steer the boat. I don't know if you need to rock too much.
Hey, I got James. You got.
Oh, this is fun. Her jib is never floating in the middle. So she's staying on the high side because of the surf. Oh, there it is. She's DDW right there. Then she comes back up a little. Yeah, so I think the jib should float into the middle at times. Meaning when you soak down. So you can see 9882, 9980. They're probably being the most aggressive. I am the mark right now. And so what we learned on this, I believe, we'll talk about it later. By the way, I think this is going to be bigger swells than we're going to see this weekend, but similar wind at times. And the thing we learned is as you surge forward, you've got to be ready to ease the guy a little and pull the sheet. And then as the boat slows down, you've got to be ready to ease the sheet and pull the guy back a little. As you're surging forward, the apparent wind goes forward, so you got to be ready to sheet. And then starboard looks like it's a similar angle to the waves. It looks like port and starboard are both pretty similar. Usually you have more of a cross swell on one jibe or the other, and it makes the boat rock more, which makes the spinnaker harder to fly. See, but they are having an easier time flying. I think Madeline Kirby needs her pole higher. This boat needs higher. Their leech is twisting off too much. Again, if the spinnaker's hard to fly, lower the pole like it is, level or just above level. As soon as it's easier to fly, you want to raise the pole. Look at that. Bye-bye. Dead downwind on that wave. She needed to sheet and ease. Yeah. That was just the wind shifting forward. She needed to ease the guy a couple inches and pull the sheet. Net gain for them. My goodness. Look at she's dead downwind. Look how the jib's right in the middle. There. Then it blows out just a little. Oh, look at this swell. Yeah. Wow. Sheet. Yep. Oh, good job. You saw the kelp there. We're gonna do some trapezoids. We're gonna be doing trapezoids at Cali Yacht Club next week, California State Champ. And the key here is you gotta keep the power on. And you depower by steering. You play the main, don't get me wrong. Just don't overplay the main. The leech of the spinnaker is very hooked, so the main's luffing. You gotta over trim the main. Down in the puff, right there. Right, as soon as you get too much power, you steer down. And then you let it carve back up in the light spot. And somebody's gotta be looking out here. So it's a light spot now. It's hard to read the wind right now. Okay, so I think Santi, no, that's Ben and Maggie. I think their both could go higher. Although on a reach like this, it's okay to have the leech twisted off a little. So on a reach like this, it's okay to have the pole lower, because that twists off the leech, opens up the slot between the main and the leech of the spinnaker. And we'll be doing this leg very short on the trapezoid. You'll only spend, you'll do a little bit of a medium-sized starboard reach to get to the outside loop of the trapezoid. Then when you're coming in right before the finish line, you'll go through the gates, jibe, and be on this point of sail usually, heading for the finish line. So it's still really good. Oh, this is good wind coming in. Now it's not as windy as it was, so they're not having to steer as much. Right now it's a very straight port. If the wind was going up and down and you were overpowered, you would be going low in the puffs. Later in the day, the wind is about the same, maybe 1 knot more. Leech is inside the spreader or right at the spreader, and the jib's luffing evenly. Santiago's faster today. She's good trapping right at the shrouds. Don't lean back at all. When you lean back, you boost the stern. Leech of the jib at the spreader tip. The foot looks perfect. I think their jib trim just looks perfect. They could probably go windward sheet a fraction more, but this is a hard tack to be on. You notice the swells are much more on the side. So right now he's in the trough. He's going to have normal wind. Right here at the top of the swell, the boat's going to go flat. Whoop, flat. It's because you're getting launched towards Coronado Beach. Right there, flat. And you see how his jib luffs at that point just a little? Now looking at them, looks like Ben has gone just rocket ship forward. So I need to, we're learning my speed testing technique, which is Ben should now slow down. So we're gonna look at their sail. Their jib looks a little tighter than Sean's, and they have gained slightly. Everybody to the left is gained, and their main sail looks very similar to Sean, maybe a touch tighter than it was than Sean. Okay, and then I think the leech of the jib is inside the spreader. Yeah, it is a lot. Be careful putting the jib too hard right away. See how far inside the spreader tip they were right away. So that's not, oh, and it's light. Light air, look at the water. I think we just went jib too tight, too quick. Should have been an inch looser. Okay, they look like they're set up exactly the same. Now again, port tack, the swell is side to us a little. So you're in the trough. Get a little puff, and then right here at the top of the swell, the boat should go flat for a second. That wasn't a very big one. Here comes another swell. So you'll get a little puff, and then watch, the boat will go flat right here. Whoop. And the jib will luff. It's really easy to go down too far. You have to split the difference. Okay, they look like they're hanging better with just a slightly tighter main than they were earlier today. Ben's jib is fuller. Look how much fuller his jib is. So he's got less leeward, more windward on, and it's closed off. So I think when he wants to hold a lane, I think he lets the windward one off a little and keeps the leeward one harder a little. Okay? You're going to see the difference in the jibs. This is the whole boat, you guys, the jib. The jib is so important, and traveler height. This is good practice for holding lanes. At the top of the swell, you're going to get a header, and try not to take all the header. Try to take a little less, because the next lift will come in the trough. If you guys bear off too much on the top of the swell, you're sailing away from the next wind. So I think you'd agree that that leech is going to be a lot. And right at the top of the swell, you're pumping the main, you're pulling the main in just a little bit. I can't quite get the lure of her, but she's definitely more twisted. So Cam has the tightest vang, Sean has the loosest vang, and Charlotte's is bouncing a little, maybe. Bouncing is good. I'm kind of watching the jibs. And you see the jibs stay way out. You know, the jibs are broad reach angles. The jib is telling you on broad. Then when you see it surge into the middle of the boat, it's either you're catching a wave or you're actually soaking down. Now Sean's in a real pit. So what she's doing is she's just pointing straight with the swell. And that's why her jib is on the other side. That's classic. You don't see that very often. Wing on wing with the jib and the spinnaker stuff. I mean, who knows? These guys are having a very good 2 days. Wow, that was really good. We just totally caught a wave so much that the mainsail floated in the middle. Problem with the too high of a pole. So Madeline and Charlotte definitely have raised their pole today, so I think that's helped. I think it's really fun for them to be out here in the swells learning how to keep that spinnaker full through the swells. So I think that's awesome. But you can see the leech is going to be very hooked and the leading edge is going to be very round. It's going to be sagging to lure. And these guys are more straight leading edge. See how the leading edge is more straight, the leech is more open. So that's much better. That makes it into a geniker instead of a round spinnaker with a hook leech. Oh yeah, luffing battle going on over here. Yeah, that's what we want to. Damn, rolled them. Look how fast they are. See, this is really good. Because see how the spinnaker's not changing a lot? I think Ben's pole is too low. His kite is not flying quite as nicely as this one. This is like perfect pole height, perfect trim. You see how he's not playing it a lot? Because as soon as it collapses completely once, you are screwed. It cannot collapse. It's got, and so the skipper's kind of steering to it like it's a jib. See how tight the main is? Uh-oh. Yeah, see that you completely kill yourself. Oh yeah, Theo and Ty. Yeah. Finally. Okay, we're going to do a couple races. See how the sheet is not going in and out a lot. It's like a geniker. And then if you look at the black and white kite behind, it's got a completely, it's pulling to leeward more. It almost looks like her sheet is down under the guy hook or something. But that spinnaker looks really weird. This is about as tight a reach as you're ever going to know. So remember, when we go to the regatta, you start to plan going through the gates and then to the finish line. You have to plan, am I going to have the spinnaker up? In the first couple races or the first race, they can often mess up the finish line and you come around and drop the kite and everybody else is trying to fly it and it's not the right time. It's like the finish line is kind of upwind. But you have to start planning that before you get to the gates, before the dog leg to the finish. You can just see all the different shapes of the spinnakers. Charlotte and Madeline back there looks like their spinnaker's kind of the one that looks the weirdest. Ben also, red, white, and blue kite, has the pull so low. And then I think Cam has the main end tighter than Charlotte. When you're on reaches, you have to look at where the mainsails are of the top 5 or 6 boats. And it's usually over trimmed slightly on these bigs. You're trying to get power. And the leech of the spinnaker is hooked into the mainsail so much that the slot is too close. So that's why you have to trim it quite tight. Experiment with that mainsail trim on reaches a lot because it completely changes the boat. Now we're doing a couple races. I set an orange buoy out here, a tiny orange buoy, and I can't find it. Now what your goal is to practice what you were working on in the speed testing. Again, I want to emphasize you really need a compass for speed testing. If you get lifted during a speed test, the boats on the inside are going to look fast. And if you get headed, the boats to leeward and ahead are going to look fast. So your compass, as you say, your crew says, oh, we're slower than a boat. You look at the compass and you determine, is that gain based on speed or is it based on angle? You can see their rakes are quite similar. I'd say Sean's raked a little further forward maybe. Sean's looser jib. She has a much more closed slot. You can see it's closed off. His is much more open slot. Closed off more. You can see she has a crease in the bottom of her jib, so she has no problem steering. Ooh, look at the jib luff. That was a swell. See how the boat heeled? I think she went down a fraction too much. Theo. Nice job, Theo. Cross all the way. Wow, nice, Theo. There is current, man. I set the buoy before and the thing drifted downwind. Oh, he did it. Now remember, it's Appendix V this weekend, so look that up. I already explained it once. Look up Appendix V. Make sure you guys are reading the notice of race by tomorrow. That was a nice set, Kai.